What's up guys, it's Johnny here from Retroplay Games, and today I want to talk about 5 archetypes or mechanics in the Grandarchive TCG I'd like to see improved. Let's do it. So the first thing I want to talk about is potions. Arasana doesn't use the brew mechanic. For anybody new and unfamiliar, Arasana's primary mechanic is to gather herbs at random, allowing you to play potion cards for free using their brew cost, by sacrificing the respective herbs on the card. I was so excited at the launch of Alchemical Revolution to use potions, and was hopeful subsequent support would make the strategy more viable than my first attempts to brew the deck. I dreamt of hurling Molten Cinder, Explosive Concoction, and Bottled Forge Light at my opponent's face, stripping cards from their memory to choke out their gameplay with Forgetful Concoction, and freezing them to death with Essence of Blizzards. Or playing the long game with Distilled Atrophy, supported by Enhanced Potency, or catalyzing my finish with Condensed Supernova. Love the art on this card, one of my favorites in the game. Unfortunately, it didn't play out like that. Outside of a few niche fire aggro strategies, Arasana's tokens are basically nothing more than a way to feed Polaris and get Cosmic Bolts into your deck for more consistent glimpsing, and outside of Potion of Healing, nothing has really seen much play, even though the gather mechanic has been supported enthusiastically over the last few sets. That aside, I will say I'm pumped that our girl Arasana got what she needed to be a top contender, and she's still an incredibly fun champion to play, offering a now somewhat uncommon in this meta, level 3 strategy that I can use to show off my CSR. Next, we'll talk about Foster. The Guardian class is home to Foster, which is triggered when an ally has managed to reach the beginning of your next recollection step without sustaining any damage. This effect triggers once, and the ally remains fostered until it leaves the field. On Foster, cards like Novice Mechanist and City Protector will generate a 1/1 Automaton drone token for you. Others, like Recruitment Officer or Forgelight Shield Maiden, are ally versions of cards like Rally the Peasants and Creative Shock. Cards like Imperial Recruit and Imperial Panzer will get stronger, and Seasoned Shieldmaster ties them all together by allowing you to draw a card to memory when an ally becomes fostered, and gives all fostered allies +1/+1. Getting Foster to trigger is hard, even though there's support with cards like Organize the Alliance and Caretaker Horse, plus other allies and Toners himself providing protection via taunt. Cards like Zephyr and other suppress effects can help trigger Foster too, but that's a hefty investment of resources just to do something like get a 1/1 token for free, or buff the power and life stats of allies by 1. All in all, it's just too easy to damage allies, and their stats are mostly subpar on their own, meaning you don't get much payoff for running them if their Foster triggers don't happen, which they often won't. I really want the Automaton token creation strategy to be good, but unfortunately Foster is a major part of getting there, and it's just too clunky to be a viable strategy for the time being. Third on the list is guns, which hopefully doesn't get the video demonetized, but realistically we're not quite there yet, so please like and subscribe to the channel, help me get there quicker. Alchemical Revolution brought us Steampunk, and along with it 2 champions that use guns as a primary weapon, Diana and Polcock. There was nothing more satisfying than racing to Diana's level 3, Duskstalker, pulling out your Shadow's Twin, and hitting your opponent with Taser Shot, forcing them to take a whopping 8 damage when they leveled, and punishing them with additional damage for drawing cards beyond their draw phase, using Creeping Torment curse cards that got applied on champion hit. Let the salt flow.
Yes, your anguish sustains me.
Blast Shot Pump helped to deal with ally-focused strategies dominating the meta at the time. Seeker's Rifle could help to hit stealth champions and allies, and other guns would give attack bonuses. Unfortunately, this was only a viable strategy for a very short time, and outside of a few well-placing wind and water ally Diana lists, guns have become too slow and clunky to be viable in the meta. Even when guns like Framework Sidearm and Emerald Pistol appeared that could be activated directly from the material deck or would fetch bullets for you, Diana's lineage and the nature of requiring multiple materializations to get guns and bullets on field and ready to use is just too slow to keep up with the hyper-aggressive meta we're in, post-Mercurial Heart Alter Edition. Distorted Reflections features a new Diana, and we've since had bows and arrows introduced that can be played in the main deck and from hand, so hopefully we will see Ranger become a competitive option once again. My next Copium addiction was Kongming and her Shifting Currents mechanic. Her lineage creates a Shifting Currents token that will afford you different benefits based on the element and cards you have in your deck, and also provides ways to manipulate the current to fit your needs. The Shifting Current mechanic is an incredible piece of game design in my opinion, and really encourages careful choices and big brain strategic play. I even pulled her CSR from my launch starter deck and the foil Shifting Currents token at that season's regional here, so it's like it was meant to be. There was some promise, using cards like Hydroguard Retainer and Kongming Fel Eidolon's abilities to generate massive influence for a water deck. Taiji of Crystal Stratagems also provided additional damage with the right current shift, and acted to feed Refracting Missile. Stratagem of Myriad Ice gains efficiency on the east current, providing massive damage potential on the cheap with a graveyard full of floating memory. Cards like Gem of Searing Flame and Solar Providence in Fire Element provided burn damage opportunities on the shift. There was even some potentially cool ally play in Wind with Axis Gale Scholar, Wulin Lancer, and Bagua of Cardinal Fate. Sadly, Kongming saw most of her competitive play with Razor Gale Calling, or as a stepping stone to enable more degeneracy with Merlin, and the Shifting Currents didn't really take off to form a core part of her identity. Last but most certainly not least, we have Flower Buds. Diao Chan, from the most recent Recollection deck release, features a mechanic similar to Arasana, where non-token objects destroyed on the opponent's side of the field may be banished, and a Flower Bud token summoned to their side of the field to replace it. These cards are Fantasia, which can help feed cards like Shimmering Refraction if you use Staff of Blossoming Will to summon them to your side of the field. The core to the mechanic, though, are the Bloom cards: Summer's Glow, Autumn's Fall, and Winter's Chill, allowing you to have your opponents sacrifice all their Flower Buds and create Lycoria, Baihua, Nightshade, Floodbloom, Acerbica, or Washiru tokens. These can wreak all sorts of havoc on your opponent, damaging them, milling them, distributing wither counters to their other permanents, subtracting levels from them, or even healing you each turn. Unfortunately, we are in a meta where level 3 decks are just too slow to compete, coupled with Diao Chan level 3 being Terra Element, which is rather weak among all the advanced element choices. You will die long before you get the opportunity to effectively leverage this strategy, and as is, a mandatory control-heavy style makes this deck a slog to play, forcing the round timeout and playing to a best of 1, which may or may not be fun for everyone involved. There might be more competitive viability to the deck if there was a way to generate Flower Buds and tokens on the way up to level 3, instead of just relying on an explosive level up turn and then requiring living through your opponent's next turn to begin to stabilize and see their effects take hold. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to jump down into the comments section. Let me know how you think these mechanics and archetypes could be improved, or if you have any suggestions for mechanics and archetypes that you think could be improved, what you want to see, what you want to play most, what you like most in the game. Once again, please like and subscribe to the channel, share it out with everybody, let them know that we got some great GA content here. See you next time. Play on.